Joining us now on MSUEagles.com is the athletic director here at Morehead State, Brian Hutchinson. We're going to kind of do a two-part series here. This will be the first of two as we kind of review the past school year and we look ahead to 2012-2013. And Brian, thanks as always for your time. We'd like to start with, I guess, one of the more successful programs on campus in terms of conference championships here recently and an NCAA tournament appearance this past year, and that's the volleyball program. 26-8 overall, 19-1 in conference play, and the third OVC tournament championship in school history. I know you're real proud about what Jamie Gordon has done with that program here in recent years.
Very proud. It speaks a lot to Jamie and his stability within our program. He is obviously the program is shaped in the fashion he would like for it to be shaped in because of his time here. And I think that whenever you put the kinds of time and energy into any effort, you have the ability to see it through to maybe as good as it can be. Our volleyball program is not as good as it can be. I think there's still a lot of room to grow. But to go through our league at a 19-1 clip, to play the kinds of competition they did in the, outside the regular season or outside the conference season, and then just go through the OVC tournament and go to our first NCAA tournament this past year was quite an accomplishment. But we expect that now, and I've told Jamie multiple times. I said, you've developed a program to the point that it's hard to begin to understand what the expectations can be. So let's set our goals accordingly. Let's have a gaudy record. Let's go through and do some stuff. Let's play some really high-level competition, see what we're made of. So we're going to do that this year. Jamie's leadership is just extraordinary, not only with that program, but even amongst our staff and on campus. People recognize and respect him for what he is, and we're just so thankful to have not only Jamie and his staff, but the kinds of young people that are part of the program.
The NCAA recently announced its multi-year academic progress rate scores. Morehead State had a perfect score in volleyball. I know that you're proud not only of what they're accomplishing athletically, but the high-quality student athletes they're bringing in from an academic standpoint, people who want to do community service, and kids with good character too.
No question. I think volleyball is, again, an example we can sort of hold up and say, guys, these are the folks that are doing it the way that you'd hope everybody strives to do it. It's not that it's going to be perfect every year. We've been fortunate to be perfect the last 4 years. Everybody that's been through our program not only has come back year after year, but they've also had really high grades and they've graduated. That's how you get those perfect scores. But to do that over a 4-year period, there aren't a ton of programs there were only 18 in our league. That's 11 schools, so it's just a little more than one per school. And I think that Jamie, the kind of leadership he provides leads itself to that. But our kids push each other. There's a lot of peer pressure to achieve not only on the court but also in the classroom and do those kinds of things out in the community. So we hold them up as an example. We hope a lot of other people look at that and say, that should be us too.
One of the many hats you wear as an athletic director is kind of overseeing and managing the personnel, not only the coaching staffs, but the administrative staff. You've been real busy here in the spring and summer with a lot of important hires for the department, both on a coaching and administrative side. Men's basketball, obviously the previous staff moved on. I know you're real excited about continuing to build on the success that the men's basketball program has enjoyed under the leadership of our new head coach, Sean Woods.
Yeah, you have an opportunity when you lose someone like we did with Donnie. There's always an opportunity to try to inject new energy. It doesn't have to be better energy. That's not the point, but it is different. It's new, and so Sean brings that to the table. I think a lot of people would have. I appreciate Sean's interest and background in our state. I appreciate that. I appreciate that he had a tremendous amount of success this past year at Mississippi Valley State in a situation that admittedly was difficult, but they went to the NCAA tournament and really should have beaten Western Kentucky in that opening round game. So he was able to do it there. For us to be able to attract him to our institution, a guy that just took his team to the NCAA tournament and hadn't lost his job, we felt really good about Coach Wood's hire. I continue to be impressed with the type of people that he has around him, with his staff. There's just a lot of enthusiasm about our program in the community, and it's to give all the credit in the world to Donnie and his staff and the young men that were part of the program. Deserve a ton of that credit, but Sean's been able to step in, and at least in the first month, the community seems to be reinvigorated by him, and so it's just something different to rally around. And I'm excited that basketball season is only about 120 days away or so, it'll be here before we know it.
Kenneth Faried, who many consider to be the best men's basketball player in school history, graduated a couple years ago. Just finished his rookie season with the Denver Nuggets in the NBA. Got a taste of the playoffs this year. Was third in the NBA Rookie of the Year voting. Just talk about him representing this university and not only what he did a couple years back with the memorable win over Louisville, but representing Morehead State in the professional ranks.
Kenneth, I said when he got drafted that I thought he had a chance to be the Rookie of the Year. And probably had he played a little bit more earlier in the season, he might have been, or maybe if they had finished a little bit higher in the Western Conference. But I think that Kenneth has done what we thought he would do. His game is obviously improving, but he's the same player we saw here. That's one with the biggest heart in the world, tremendous passion and energy about the game of basketball, and being as good as he can be at those things he excels at. And so I think Coach Carl and the Nuggets and all the fans out there have figured that out now. And Kenneth will be a force to be reckoned with because of how hard he plays and because his motor just runs so high. And we couldn't be prouder of him and all the good works he does. All of us keep up with them through Twitter and Facebook and watching the shows on NBA TV and all that kind of stuff. And he's doing some really neat things right now in the community there with young people. It's the Kenneth we know. It's the Kenneth we're certainly very, very proud of. And for him to be able to proudly call himself an Eagle means a lot to a lot of people, including me.
We've hit a couple highlights of fall sports and winter sports, and now if we could turn our attention a little bit to the spring. And I know you're very proud of all of the sport programs, all of the coaches and student athletes we have here. Unfortunately, time doesn't allow us to really hit on every team at Morehead State, but women's golf had another really solid season. Stephanie Barker has done a nice job with that program. Marissa Camelgarn, a junior on the team this year, was named OVC Player of the Year, and the team finished second. She tied for first at the OVC tournament. I know that was an event you got to see firsthand as Morehead State was the host down in Tennessee, but if you could talk about women's golf a little bit and some of the quality things they've done.
I'm really proud of our women's golf program. We started that program under my time as athletics director, and Stephanie's been our only coach. She's been our coach now, I think, for 5 seasons. We've had a team for 4 of those. In those 4 years, we've never finished out of the top 3 in the OVC. We've won it once. We have 2 second-place finishes, and we have 2 OVC Golfers of the Year, and I fully expect that Marissa will be named again next year. If her performance is anything like we've seen her first 3 years, she should be the Golfer of the Year again next year. So that speaks very well of Stephanie and the kind of young women that are part of her program. She recruits very competitive, yet talented, skilled people and players. And we're just so fortunate to have her as our women's head golf coach. It's kind of her baby. She's built it from the ground up. All we've done is sit and talk about the kinds of things she needed early on and then how to kind of keep that rolling. And so we try to be attentive to that type of stuff. But it takes tremendous commitment from not only the institution but also from Stephanie and from those players to continue to do it year in, year out. So I still remain convinced that our brightest days are ahead of us. We've had a lot to be proud of. Marissa is a tremendous player, very, very good student as well. She'll have a career in the medical field whenever she's done, likely, or maybe as a researcher. It's a blessing to watch those girls perform every day.
The baseball program was 18 wins better this past spring than 2 years ago. I know some things with injuries and a transfer and a few other things that happened the previous year. Clearly that program achieved below expectations, but this year they really turned the corner, had a nice season, returned to the OVC baseball tournament, and obviously we're in the middle of a coaching transition there too. And I know you can't speak of any of the candidates by name in the search, but I know that you were happy with a lot of interest in our head baseball job, and just shows kind of the respect that I think that program is starting to get.
Yeah, there are a lot of baseball jobs open right now. This has been a year that has seen quite a bit of turnover in the head coaching ranks at the Division I level, particularly. I don't know about other divisions, but we do have a lot of interest in the program, and I think that speaks very well of what Coach Sorg built in the 5 years that he was here. But probably more than that, it speaks well of the young men that are part of our team. We did improve by 18 wins. We were a losing streak in the middle of the year. Had that not happened, we probably would have finished much higher than 5th in our league. We probably would have broken our school record for wins in a season. We were really very, very close. And when you look back at the season and know that for the most part our starting pitching staff for the weekend were freshmen, sophomore, freshmen, people would look at that and say we have an opportunity to walk into this situation and be really, really good from the beginning. and it's not a rebuilding situation at all. So, and I've heard that from others in our league who have called about this baseball job just to, pick my brain or maybe offer their unsolicited opinions about, about what direction we should go. And all of them have said you kind of have a unique situation because you're on the upswing. It's not a situation where you've had to make a change and you're trying to get it rebuilt. That's not where we are. So I'm excited about the people that are interested. It's, again, just like it was with basketball, it's an opportunity for new energy, not necessarily better, but just different. And I hope that our young men and the people that are connected with them, their families and our alumni base and all of those folks are patient and allow us to do our work diligently. But I know at the end of the day that we're going to be really excited about where we end up. And I expect whoever's taking over to lead us into certainly conference prominence. And when you look at, the College World Series starts tomorrow on Friday. And to know, you look at a team like Stony Brook or you look at a team like Kent State, a lot of people would think that we should be very similar to them. And there are obviously differences in certain things, but when I watch those guys perform on the field, the difference is not extraordinary. When you see what they've done and you see what our kids did all year long, you feel like you got a chance. And that's what's a little bit inspiring about that. It's just like when Butler or VCU went to the Final Four in basketball a couple of years ago, Butler 2 years in a row. You think about that and you say, why not us? And so what's the difference, and how do you turn that to the point that you feel like you have a good chance of doing the same sorts of things? So I think a lot of people are caught up in the energy of that, and it's kind of the thing that sort of motivates you to keep going and doing the right kinds of things.
That's the athletic director at Morehead State University, Brian Hutchinson. Brian, this will wrap up part one of our two-part chat here, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you.